here to welcome you all to the BFI's 5th edition of Busting the Bias and to introduce our keynote speaker. I'm a white, gay, wheelchair user in my 50s, which in disabled years is about 110. I'm wearing glasses and I'm dressed in black with a slightly flamboyant orange velvet jacket. I'm immensely proud of all the progress on access and inclusion that our group has achieved since we formed in 2018. And that work is going to ensure and help ensure that the next generation of disabled talent do not face the same barriers that many of us have experienced in our screen careers. For those of you who don't know or are not familiar with our work, here are just a few of the things that we've been doing. We have driven the debate on authentic representation of disability in British film, calling time on cripping up, leading to an industry-wide conversation that's been picked up by Jack Thorne and others. We created the world's first representation and visible difference panel to assist the industry better deal with the issues of representation in film. We've delivered 5 Busting the Bias symposiums celebrating the contribution of disabled people in film. We've delivered 2 pandemic press reset campaigns introducing the concept of anti-ableism into the mainstream industry. And we've offered our lived experience to demonstrate how best to support disabled talent through that pandemic. We've increased and influenced opportunities for disabled filmmakers and talent via the BFI Film Fund, via BAFTA Elevate, and influenced the wider industry, especially through our contribution to the BAFTA Diversity Review, leading to a sea change in their voting procedures, award giving, membership, and wider representation. And finally, we created the first disability-focused role in British film funding, the wonderful Claire Baines, who you've just met, and who has put this weekend for us and the talks and film together for us. And I think that's really not bad for a group of around 10 disabled industry professionals meeting quarterly. And that's what we've been focused on over the last few years. I couldn't be more thrilled that there are conversations happening now that were just unthinkable when we began meeting. And I'll be reflecting those in more detail with my Deputy Chair, David Proud, in conversation with Sam Tatlow in our session, Nothing About Us Without Us, in here on Sunday. Some tickets are still available. And finally, I'd like to thank all the brilliant disabled creatives who have contributed to this work over the last 5 years, many of whom are with us this evening, and everyone at the BFI who's facilitated our journey, from Jennifer Smith, who set us on our way, Mel Hoyes, Miranda, and Claire, and Rico. But there is so much more to do, and I wish my successor as chair every strength to achieve even greater equity for deaf, disabled, and neurodiverse people in the UK film industry. And so now it is my great pleasure to introduce the next chair of the BFI Disability Screen Advisory Group. Please welcome filmmaker, writer, and activist, Kyla Harris.
Thanks, Andrew. That is indeed a very flashy jacket that you are wearing. To start off with a visual description, I am a brown-skinned woman in my mid-30s. I am rocking what was described to me as a bit of a Kate Bush look with rather 70s shaggy hair and a dramatic red sleeve. So yeah, this is, I was described as kind of giving a keynote, but don't worry, I'm not going to be here for over an hour. It'll be a quick keynote of five minutes or so. So in 2018, I was set up on a friendship date where I met Ella Glendinning, knowing that we were both queer, disabled people that recently moved to Brighton. She asked if I wanted to join a newly formed disability screen advisory group at BFI, and who would say no to the BFI. So, of course, I said yes. Around the same time, With BFI funding, Ella began filming her documentary called Is There Anybody Out There? But I'll come back to that. So at first, I really wasn't sure what I could bring to the group. I hadn't engaged in anything to do with filmmaking for over 15 years after a failed attempt at film school. I had only recently started hosting local disability-centered film events in Brighton. When I met the chair, Andrew Miller, supported by David Proud and Kim Sersey, I felt immediately connected to the community I was missing, especially when we started chatting film and a very minor, totally minuscule changes that needed to be made within the industry. Tiny and minuscule is sarcasm, by the way. As members of the BFI DSAG, which will be rebranded because we're going to have an uplift so we're not so desaggy. But under the leadership of Andrew, we have made significant headway in forefronting disability inclusion in the screen industries in the UK. Andrew has talked about so much of what we have achieved, but as chair, Andrew has commandeered our strategies, made a significant foundation for disabled creatives at the BFI as members of DSAG or grantees, and he has herded cats. Many, many cats. And by cats, I mean us, the members of DSAG, leading us to where we are now. My plan going forward is to prioritize intersectionality, build more bridges, and work in coalition with other groups within the BFI, such as the Race Equality Network and the Queer Network, to move forward and increase in and off-screen equity for anyone who has felt othered. I believe we need to champion an intersectional approach to DSAG that recognizes that multiple identities can create layered forms of oppression and increase opportunities that address the multitudes that we all are. We will look to expand the disability representation and difference panel, hopefully from script to screen, and implement strategies that provide an environment and support disabled creatives to make more feature films. I am beyond grateful to be doing this beside Mel Hoyes, Miranda Gaurishon, and of course our disability equality lead, the fabulous Claire Baines. I began with speaking about Ella's documentary, whose creation began at the same time as DSAG. That same documentary had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in January, an international milestone in any filmmaker's career. Is There Anybody Out There charges me with hope for authentic, nuanced representation of our community, a community I feel I have found here, and a community that I have immensely benefited from within the BFI. The film asks an important question, and in this context, when I think about that question, is there anybody out there, I think of, for us, the disabled community, to work in coalition with us, as we have worked tirelessly, to champion our work, make space for ourselves, resist ableism, and, of course, tell damn good stories. Thanks.
I am really honoured to be here because Ella Glendenning asked me to be here, and I would like to welcome Ella to the stage. You got a really good bit of hype already from Kyla, and it's justified entirely for anyone. Has anybody here seen Is There Anybody Out There yet? How many people saw that at Sundance? Many more will be able to get access to this incredible film. And so what an incredible start as well that you world premiered at Sundance. That is not too shabby, Ella. And so we're going to talk about the film, and perhaps do you want to actually introduce the film and introduce the trailer first?
Sure thing. Thank you. Thank you, Mia, for
Pleasure.
being here. Thank you for having me. I feel very emotional after those amazing speeches. Also, I should just say that I am renowned for breaking down on stage. I'm terrible, terrible, terrible at public speaking, so enjoy whatever is to come. I'll do a visual description. I am a 31-year-old white woman with brown hair with dyed blonde bits in. I am wearing a really fancy shirt with like ruffles, and I look really kind of just butch and sexy. I've got black leggings on and some nice Doc Martens. I think that's about it. Oh, little legs. Oh, sorry, what was that? Oh, introducing the trailer. Yes, I love this film, and this trailer I really love as well. I think it gives you a good little insight into what the film is about and what I'm trying to say. So this is the trailer for my film, Is There Anybody Out There?
We thought we'd make you a film of our everyday lives, so this is it.
Okay. Come on. Oh.
Whoa.
I grew up in a village called Elsing. It was quite magical.
Shall I skip?
I was born without hip joints and very short thigh bones.
Your diagnosis happened on our first scan. They had never seen this before. That was scary.
My disability is so rare, I can't find any proper statistics for it. There is this missing piece of the puzzle in my life. Finding someone exactly like me. I have discovered this group for people with similar conditions. So we're all going to meet together. Hi. I'm really excited.
Who here thinks that I'm a sex symbol? Are y'all kidding me? Really? No one?
Being disabled in this ableist world is brutal.
Growing up, it's definitely a struggle. No one's ever wanted to be like me. Not even I wanted to be me.
I get laughed at everywhere I go.
Is there ever going to be a point when it's not going to matter?
I used to imagine myself in the future as better, and at some point you just realise this is it.
People want improved appearance. With surgery, we could lengthen the bones, but you're not a candidate for lengthening. Usually we do that at age 3.
As a society, we'll do anything to make our disabled children as close to non-disabled as possible. I love and respect my body. Being this way is not the problem.
It's what you do next that matters.
No one is the same. Everybody is so unique.
No such thing as normal.
Learning day by day to, love myself and love who I am.
It is hard being different.
But the world would be worse off without disabled people.
And now I feel a little bit less alone in the world. Which is very cool, isn't it?
Okay.
Let's start at the top. Ella, so what inspired you to make the film, and what were you trying to communicate? And also, did that change what you thought you were communicating, how that changed as you moved through the process?
Initially, I was very interested in the experience of living in a very, very unusual looking body, and living as a disabled person in a non-disabled world, experiencing ableism all the time. So it was always going to be about that. But yes, the story itself has changed quite a bit. And it took me a while to realize that the film became more and more personal. It wasn't always necessarily going to be so very much about me. But I realized living in a very unusual body, I've never seen anybody like me before. And I sort of thought, okay, I've got a story to tell and I know what I want to say. And now I need to go on this very terrifying journey. And then I applied for some funding, the BFI Doc Society. And then I met my amazing producer, Janine Marmot, who's somewhere.
Please
she's right
wave,
there.
Janine.
Yeah, she's amazing. And so it's literally everyone I worked with, so I'm very lucky. Anyway, that's how it began.
How long did it take? How many years?
I think nearly 5. I think we were shooting for nearly 5. Yeah, madness. Oh yeah, and it changed so very much because I had a baby. Spoiler. But yeah, so it also became about becoming a mum. So yeah, that was a big thing that happened that I was not expecting.
And we've got a couple of funders here actually. So can we just shout out? So how long did it take to raise the money actually? Let's just cover that. Let's dispense with that part of we'll get into the creative, but just how long did it take to actually get this funded? It started with who?
Started with the BFI Doc Society, and got some funding from Chicken and Egg Pictures. I did a doc lab with them, which was really fun. Screen Scotland, who were also just completely amazing. I can't remember who else. Janine?
Mead Fund.
Ah, yes.
Right.
Mead Fund. Yeah.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
can we just have a wave from Sandra and Shanida,
Oh,
who are
yay.
incredibly
Hello.
important from the Doc Society. Wouldn't have happened without you. So let's go right in deep in our second question. The biggest internal conflicts you experienced in the process of making this film. We literally see you digging deep in the film. So let's walk through that and how you protect yourself. I'm interested in that bit, but let's start with the internal conflicts first.
Okay. There were so many. I feel like it's probably the most personal film I've ever seen, and it's about me, and I didn't really clock how exposing it was going to be until it was in Sundance and people were watching it. I think my biggest internal conflict was because one thing I really didn't expect at the beginning was to focus so much on these sort of children like me who are having surgery. I didn't think I was going to necessarily touch on the subject of surgery for people like me, it's essentially cosmetic surgery, which is fine. I might get a boob job, but anyway, it's so yeah. My biggest conflict was that I researched so much and I met with so many mostly parents of children with my condition, and I formed some really amazing relationships and had some really profound chats with these parents whose children were having surgery, and I felt just so conflicted about coming across as judgmental or hurting anyone's feelings, and still to this day I worry about that. So far no one's had a go at me, but yeah, that was my biggest internal conflict, was not wanting to judge parents who had made that decision for their child, even though I do, if I'm completely honest, and also, yeah, not wanting to hurt those children who are going to grow up and maybe watch my film and maybe think, oh God, did I do the right thing?
Mm-hmm. And were there any external conflicts that you can speak about? What were the external barriers?
Well, I talk about this a bit in the film, but the first thing that springs to mind is that everybody wanted me to interview my ex-partner. He's my partner in the film, but not anymore, but that's fine. It's another story.
Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone really wanted me to interview him. Everyone kept saying, but what about Scott? What's his story? And I knew, and it was very clear to me, that it was completely irrelevant. I just happened to have a partner. It was nothing. It was just bizarre to me that they were asking. And I know what they wanted. They wanted to know how could he be attracted to me? How could he want to be with a disabled person? Like, what's this morbid fascination? What on earth is life like for you being with someone like that? And it really pissed me off. So many people said that. And so I ranted about it in the film and did not interview him.
That is called Final Cut. So talk us through what changed in the process of making the film. Perhaps what changed for you and also what changed within the film.
Well, I already gave away the baby storyline. I guess I don't want to give spoilers because I really want you to watch it. But I suppose I did. It sounds a bit cheesy actually, but the big thing that I learned or sort of realised. So yeah, I'll start again. There was a period when I was very, very, very fixated on finding someone exactly like me, because within my condition there are lots of different types. Apparently, like there's a classification system, and I couldn't find anyone with my specific type because it's the most rare, and I never did find anyone exactly like me. And I guess, yeah, my big aha moment was, like, you don't see much in the trailer, but I speak to one of my closest friends, Naomi, who's autistic, and obviously we have very different conditions, but our experience of ableism and how we view the world and stuff is the same. And I did kind of realize I already had what I needed in the disabled community with my disabled friends. So that was something I didn't, because it is cheesy. I didn't expect that to be my conclusion, but it really was, and it was very powerful and very freeing.
Shall we go to another clip? Do you want to introduce one of the clips?
Yes, sure. I don't know what this is, but this is one of the clips.
Okay, it's a lucky dip.
Hello, we finished the Prosecco.
That's okay. We can have my lovely gin now.
Oh, yeah, true. Oh, God, I hope the glass bottles haven't exploded.
Oh, Jesus, they're in the freezer.
It's okay. They're alive. You go.
Thank you.
What I wanted to ask you is, you know, when I was talking about how, like, forever I get this question, what do you do? Well, what was I?
What do you do?
Yeah, I feel like the entire sort of hatred towards people on benefits is like ableism, largely.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
You have to explain.
I'm on disability. You know, I'm disabled. I have a carer. My carer is my mum. She lives down the road. She lives a minute down the road.
Can I say what I think about this question? I have applied for 10 gazillion jobs in
I
my
know.
adult... No, but I have, like...
Yeah, I know.
so
I was with you
desperate.
when you had applied for every fucking job, and you got that job at Tesco, and you were celebrating.
It was Asda.
No, it was Asda.
It was Asda, God damn it.
You got that job at Asda, and you were so thrilled about it. You posted a Facebook status, and then you're like, it was a night shift at Asda, and you were like, I am Asda, lady of the night.
They changed their mind.
Yeah.
They changed their mind and they said that they didn't want me anymore, and they never really explained why, but I think you know. Why can't you do that stuff? And it's okay if you don't want to answer if you think that's questions worded wrongly. or
Because I
whatever.
can't do the thing, like the thing that people put on. I don't have it.
Is there anything you want to say about in response to that scene?
Oh, I love that scene. That was my favourite. Well, yeah, all the scenes of Naomi are sort of my favourite. I think it's, you know, it's just disabled people chatting the way we do. This is the sort of conversations that we have all the time. And it was really important to me to talk about, invisible disabilities as well, because there's obviously so much stigma there and so much interesting crossover. So there's more to that scene. It was really long at one point. I was like, please can it be 20 minutes long? Because I just think me and Naomi are hilarious. Yeah, and I'm so proud of Naomi because I'm not a private person in the way that she is, but she is so private, and it just means so much to me that she bared her soul as well.
So let's talk about the journey it's had going out into the world. You can't really prepare yourself for what... I mean, I don't think as a filmmaker you can really prepare yourself for what something like Sundance Film Festival is like. And then on top, this is a film entirely about you. So that's almost like a kind of double consciousness you almost have to occupy. Can you talk us through that? This feels like a good thing to really get into.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I was definitely, and am still, I guess, very naive. This is my first feature film, though I've made a bunch of fantastic shorts. That was a joke again. Yeah, I think I was naive. Like, I didn't realise that loads of reviews were going to be out after the Sundance premiere and stuff. I did not realise. And the response has been largely amazing. Had some really amazing reviews, and the response from the disabled community, which is obviously the most important thing, has been beyond my wildest dreams. It's been just so profound. I'm so relieved that it's speaking to the people that I made it for. But also, I just want to say that there were, obviously, Janine might hate me for saying this, but there were some bad reviews because people are assholes and have bad taste. But like, I love the bad reviews. Like, I hate them at first, and I didn't sleep for like 3 days, and that's fine. But no, the bad reviews were like saying that I'm arrogant. And you know what? At first, I was very offended, and then I thought, this is the best compliment you can give a disabled person. Like, yes, I am fucking arrogant. I am a queen, and you will bow to me, and I love it.
Let's just. I'd like to elaborate on that a bit. Obviously you are a queen. But also on. So, what were there any reviews that were really clunky, and you realised actually this is exactly why I made this film, because particularly from people you know are able-bodied who just didn't get it. Can we just elaborate on that? I'm interested.
I can't. I haven't. I have tried to wipe them from my memory because I am really sensitive, and I did cry, and I didn't sleep for days, and I was at Sundance, so I had to like pretend to be okay. But I found the like 2 bad reviews that I read really ableist, that very defensive, like how dare she? She'd already made her mind up when she went and saw that surgeon. She's vilifying him. And it's just not true. I mean, I spent so long. There's a scene with Dr. Paley, with the surgeon who treats people like me. And I really agonized over how to cut that with my editor. And we could have vilified him, absolutely. He said some terrible things that did not make the film. And I didn't want to. I think I wanted to show him fairly, and so I did. So if people hate him, it's not my fault.
A woman to that. Let's talk a bit more about Sundance. What was the experience like? Did you meet other filmmakers? And was it accessible? Actually, did they look after you?
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. It was incredibly intense because, well, it was incredibly intense, and I had to do lots of public speaking, which was terrifying and all that. But I mean, it wasn't like very accessible, if I'm completely honest, but that's expected. I've never, ever, ever, ever gone to a festival or any type of like event and been impressed, quite frankly, ever. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, it was like, oh, look, there's some fucking steps that I have not been warned about, but it's fine. Like, it's not fine, obviously. But yeah, it wasn't that accessible in some ways, but in other ways, it was great. I mean, it was great. It was mostly the snow that made it inaccessible, and I don't think anyone could do anything about that. But yeah, it was amazing meeting other filmmakers and other disabled filmmakers as well. That was my absolute highlight. It was a whirlwind and definitely feels like a dream now.
Mm-hmm. And can we talk about some other collaborators that you wanted to lift up? Like you shouted out Janine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to, I collaborated with the most amazing people. I feel so lucky because everyone I worked with is just dreamy. So first of all, Janine is the best producer ever, and I keep pitching things to her so that we work together forevermore. Next, we're going to make a documentary about Morrissey. Oh, and actually, well, I'll tell you about the other one in a minute. But Anne-Marie Vercoe, my cinematographer, who's just completely amazing, like never ever got under my feet, just became a really good friend and is so intuitive and stuff. I never even had to direct her. And Rachel Roberts, my editor, and Erland Cooper, he was really the only man like creatively involved. Erland Cooper, who's a composer, who I accosted at a gig and said, will you compose for my film? Please look at me, I'm in a wheelchair. And so he said yes, obviously. And Claire Ferguson, who was consulting editor. And yeah, loads of other amazing people, but they're like the key kind of creative core team.
Wonderful. And so what's next for the film? I think you're going to another quite major festival shortly.
Yes, there's loads of stuff coming up. It's crazy, but tomorrow me and Janine are going to Thessaloniki. I think that's how you say it. Actually, I don't. I think it's wrong, but
no, you're right.
Little island in Greece, big documentary festival, which I'm really excited about, and I'm hoping it'll feel a bit like a holiday.
And then South by Southwest.
Yeah, South by Southwest, CPH Docs. Yeah, loads.
Yeah, that's the creme de la creme of hot
I don't know
dogs.
what we're allowed to say. Hot dogs.
We said it. You heard it here
And
first.
a random. Do people know about the Geneva one? Yeah, there's a human rights film festival in Geneva that we're going to as well. That's very exciting.
So let's talk about what next.
The next big project me and Janine Marmot are working on. She's producing again. I'm writing and directing. It's a historical drama about the life of a court dwarf in the 1600s. He was sort of pet of Queen Henrietta Maria, who was married to King Charles I. And it's about it's very similar themes to my documentary, basically the same story, but just in a very, very, very different setting. It's about his kind of overcoming internalized ableism and finding community and embracing his disabled and bisexual identity.
Wow, and where did you find that story?
I can't really remember. It's really random. I'm not even into history, but I love writing, and I think so he's based on a real person, and I was reading about him and then thought, wow, what a story. And then I made a story up based on him.
And where are you at in the process?
I'm just in the process of procrastinating writing the screenplay, but I've written a treatment and beat sheet, and yes, we've got funding from the BFI so that I can write the script, so I need to do that now.
And any hints at how you imagine it?
I think it will feel quite contemporary in some ways, but it's not going to feel... It's going to be very heartfelt and sincere as well, so there'll be like light moments, but also it will be epic, and everyone will weep and cheer, and I just can't wait.
Wonderful. And I think I just might have one more question, which is actually no, I'd like to leave you the space. Is there anything else you want to put in the room before I have one more final question?
I don't know really, but it's really cool that you're all here, and I'm just very imposter syndrome because there's so many people here that I admire so much. And just thank you for having me.
Oh, wonderful.